The investigators turn their attention to the safety of the aircraft itself. The A330 is a jewel in the crown of European aerospace giant Airbus. With nearly 700 in service, there had never been a single passenger fatality before Flight 447. This history of reliability rests on a highly computerized flight control system, fly-by-wire. The design philosophy that safety is greatly enhanced by automation.
They're highly automated, they're fly-by-wire, they're some of the leading-edge technology in aviation even today.
If the pilot were to lose control for some reason, the fly-by-wire system would save the aeroplane.
V1, rotate.
Captain Martin Alder is a former chairman of the British Airline Pilots Flight Safety Group.
Gear up.
And a highly experienced Airbus instructor. In the flight simulator, he shows how automation can keep an aircraft under control, even with no help at all from the pilot.
In a conventional aeroplane, instead of this side stick, I'd have quite a big control column here. You need plenty of leverage to apply the mechanical forces you need to move the control surfaces to control the aeroplane.
In a conventional aeroplane, the pilot pulls mechanical levers to operate a powered hydraulic control system. But with fly-by-wire, the heavyweight gear is replaced by electronics. Now a flight computer carries out the pilot's wishes. The computer keeps the aircraft under precision control during any maneuver, even a simple turn.
So if I want to go to the left, stick to the left. Round to the left.
The flight computer adjusts the wing and the aircraft rolls to the left. Ordinarily, this would cause the A330 to descend. So the computer compensates by increasing engine thrust and pitching the nose up to maintain a steady altitude. The end result? Totally automatic control.
I take my hands off, and there we are. It's flying round. Vertical speed 0, 25 degrees of bank, 240 knots. It's going to fly around at 25 degrees of bank, keep doing this until we get bored.
When autopilot is switched on, the plane literally flies itself.
99% of the time, when you're sitting as a passenger flying at 35,000 feet, the autopilot's flying the aeroplane.
Flight 447 would have been safely on autopilot as it headed out over the Atlantic. The pilots settling in for the long haul. The aircraft making continuous automatic adjustments to keep them on course for Paris. Tony Cable tracks their progress using air traffic control transcripts.
The only thing to go on in this case, in the early stage, is to look at the last position report, which in this case is the last crew conversation with air traffic control.
3 hours out from Rio de Janeiro, Flight 447 was still on the intended flight path.
Air France 447, by checking Intel 0133, level 350, Salpu 0148.
But at 1:35 a.m., all radio communications ceased.
There is nothing to say what's happened to it after that last position report.
The last known position, 350 miles off the coast of Brazil. But now, the mystery deepens. For another 35 minutes, Flight 447's computer continues to send out automatic position reports by satellite.
The reason for the automatic position reports is so that the operator can follow the progress of the flight and know whether it's going to be early or late to help with its scheduling effectively.
Cable uses the automatic reports to track the flight's further progress. The last location was at 2:10 a.m., 70 miles from where the wreckage was discovered.
What these messages do show is a last automatic position report and then apparently the end of the flight.
Something in Flight 447's path brought it down. Cable hunts for the cause in the official weather report.
There was thunderstorm activity in that area, quite a large trail across the flight path at the time that AF447 went through.
At 2:10 a.m., Flight 447 was in the vicinity of an Atlantic thunderstorm, 250 miles wide. But this fact raises a crucial question that the official reports fail to answer. Why would experienced pilots fly into a storm?
The idea that a pilot would fly through a thunderstorm, absolutely not.
Highly improbable. Pilots, remember, at the front end of the airplane, the first people to meet any accident. We have a great incentive not to meet accidents.
Flight 447 must have flown into the storm by mistake. To find out why this happened, the investigation turns to John Williams, a specialist in aviation meteorology at the National Center for Atmospheric Research in Boulder, Colorado. Williams has satellite images taken every half hour to analyze how the storm developed as Flight 447 approached.
I'll step through by 30-minute intervals, and you'll see these storm systems starting to grow. This storm system is hundreds of miles across and maybe 60 miles wide. Wow, look at the size of that growth right there.
In daylight, the thunderclouds would have spanned the horizon, towering from the ocean to 50,000 feet. But in the dark, early hours of the morning, the Flight 447 pilots can't see them. Instead, they must rely on their onboard weather radar. Radar waves reflect from water droplets in the clouds, allowing pilots to pick their way around any dangerous storms. According to the official reports, several other flights that night took the same route as Flight 447. But all these pilots saw the storm coming and made detours of up to 90 miles to avoid it. But Flight 447 made only a minor change of course.
You can see that it had deviated a little bit off of its flight plan, and that might mean that they were trying to deviate around some storms.
This minor deviation leads Williams to a major breakthrough. He thinks Flight 447 was deceived by a quirk of the weather.
What you can see is that there's a small storm between them and the large storm system that, as they approached it, may have blocked their radar's view of the larger storm system and the more hazardous storm system behind.
If Williams is right, Flight 447's radar was blocked by the smaller storm in their path. The beam can't get through to detect the real threat. The 250-mile-wide storm system behind. Supporting Williams' theory, another flight crew that night reported that they only saw the danger when they increased radar sensitivity.
You could find yourself in a position with this absorption of the signal where you are almost into the storm before the signal strength actually reflects reality.
It's an important